Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Wishwell Farms. Today is Saturday. I hope you all had a good weekend. I'm currently standing out in one of my sweet corn fields. Well, it's going to also have green beans in it, but most of this area right here is going to be going into sweet corn. And I am noticing that it is finally starting to dry out. After nearly 5 inches of rain in the past week and a half, and just waiting and waiting for warm, dry weather, it has finally arrived. So I've been driving around checking fields, and unfortunately a majority of them are too wet to plant today. But if you look right here, you can see that it is starting to dry out, and you also see thistles. This section of field is always bad with thistles, but I can usually keep them under control pretty good. Now, even though this looks dry right here, 150 to 200 feet that way, and up over there near the hill, it is pure mud. Up on top that hill, it is pure mud. Down at the bottom, it's a little dry. Over that way, there's a little dry spot. So what I'm getting at is that I am going to have to piece in this 3.5 acres of sweet corn. Ideally, I would wait 2 more days for it to dry out. But now they're calling for a 50% chance of rain on Monday. So I can't risk it. I don't really want to be planting tomorrow. It's Mother's Day. We have a lot of plans, church. It's just going to be a bad day to try to be out here and spend 2 hours planting sweet corn. So it's going to happen today. So it'll go in really good right here where it's dry, but half of it is going to be getting mudded in. I don't really have an option at this point. We're going to have a gap if I don't plant today. So let's go over here and I'll show you the varieties of corn that I am putting in today. All right, this is my sweet corn spreadsheet or planting schedule for 2025. Planting 1 and planting 2 is done. We are ready for planting number 3. I normally like to put that in between May 1st and May 6th. So we're not too many days off. I think we'll be okay. But I am planning to put in 6 varieties today. Solstice, Extra Tender 274A, Signature, Ignition, Troubadour, and Xanadu. And these are the 6 varieties that I am putting in. And as you can see, all of these come from Rupp Seeds in Wausau, Ohio. Now, of the 6 varieties that I am putting in the ground today, I would only consider 2 of those to be main season or full season varieties. The other 4 mature in 70 to 73 days, and I would consider those to still be early season varieties because I won't be planting those again. This is the only time I'm putting those in. For the rest of the season, I will be putting in 73 to 77 day maturity varieties, and I would consider those to be full season or main season varieties. The reason I'm still putting in some of those early ones today is because the soil temperature is still a little bit on the cool side. Even though I know they'll all come up, I want to make sure I don't have a gap in my planting. So those 4 earlier varieties will help fill that gap between the last planting and today. And speaking of the last planting, it is right there on that hill. There's a 1 acre spot right there on the hill where the weeds are kind of dead, surrounded by that waterway. The corn is spiking, which means it is just spiking through the soil surface. It's just emerged. It's up about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. That is a very good sign because that means I'm not going to have a gap like I thought I would. If that core was already up like 2 or 3 inches, then I would be worried because the stuff I'm putting in the ground today would never catch up and fill that gap. We would have a couple days, maybe even up to a week of no corn to harvest, kind of waiting on the one I am putting in the ground today. So yeah, things are looking pretty good. I'm feeling optimistic. Let's go over and take a look at sweet corn planting number 1 and see how big it is. First sweet corn planting is looking pretty good. It's a little pale looking, but it has been cold, and I'm not surprised after having almost 5 inches of rain on it last week. But I'm confident it'll start taking off now that we're getting some dry weather and some more heat. Check out this ground. If it all looked like this, I would be in good shape today. But let's drive down this field about 100 feet and you'll see the difference. There, already, pure mud. It's pure mud. There's no way I can plant there. So I'm gonna have to piece in a little bit of corn right here, maybe a little bit over there by the creek where the dark green grass is, all the way to where we have a burn pile for some cardboard, and a little bit over there where I was just at, closer to the greenhouse. So definitely not the way I like to do it. The one upside to doing this is maybe it will deter some of the bird damage that I've had in the past, because I'll have my corn kind of pieced into 3 different fields instead of all in the same spot. I don't know. Blackbirds are pretty smart. They're gonna find the corn no matter where I put it. So I'm thinking I'm not gonna get my 3.5 acres in today. That's what today's planting is supposed to be, 3.5 acres. So maybe I'll just put in like 2 and then pray that it doesn't rain next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I can get the other half in. Or maybe even tomorrow night, after all the Mother's Day festivities are over, I could get in maybe another 1.5 acres or 2 acres in tomorrow night. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Let's get half of it in the ground right now. That way we got our bases covered, and then try to do the other half Sunday night or Monday afternoon. Sounds like a good plan. Let's go plant some corn. First variety going in the ground today, Solstice. I can't remember if I've ever planted this one before. I might have put a little bit out last year. No, that was Signature and Ignition. Yeah, this might be the first time I've ever planted Solstice, but it is a 70 day. So it's fairly early, yeah. Be interesting to see how it does up against kickoff. I only got 10,000 seeds, so if I don't like it, it's not that big of a loss. I always like to trial a few new varieties every year. Now with only 10,000 seeds, you gotta be careful when you're divvying it up between the 4 hoppers, because it's easy to put too much in one of the hoppers and then you don't have enough for the other one. Seeds per pound, 2,500. It's about mid-size, maybe a little bit big. So I'm gonna leave my brushes on the seed meters on setting number 3. So last week when I was planting corn, I forgot to show this product that I use. It's called Seed Plus Graphite. So even though you saw me put straight graphite in here, on the next planting, I did use this, and I will use this all through the rest of the season. It's not only got graphite, but it has some micros in here: calcium, sulfur, cobalt, copper, iron, manganese, and molybdenum, and zinc. And then I just stir it around a little bit and let it do its thing. I changed up the population just a little bit for this planting. 22 driver and 28 driven. That population is 20,600 seeds per acre. Looks fairly dry down through here. I just wish the rest of the field looked like this. All right, let's see if we can find us a seed. Sometimes a sweet corn seed's hard to find because they're almost spaced 10 inches apart. So unless you dig right where they're at, it's easy to go right by one. There's one. Oh, Perfect. Look at them down there. Right in the center of the trench, about 1.5 inches down. Beautiful. What in the world is this? Looks like a metal pipe. You never know what you're gonna find in an old farm field. Well, the corn's going in pretty good. I've gotten in Solstice, Extra Tender 274A, Signature, and now I'm putting in Ignition right here along this waterway from right here all the way to that burn pile back there by the woods. So I've been kind of putting this corn in differently than I ever have in the past. Usually I do the whole length of the field from like a waterway all the way to another field. But today, the drier areas are beside the waterways, probably because it's draining better there. So I'm planting in all different directions. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm just piecing it all in, but I'm just glad that I have enough dry places to put corn in. I'm very fortunate because a lot of people have gotten more rain than we did and they are not able to get their corn in. So very happy that I'm getting corn in the ground, but I am gonna hold off on the 2 later varieties, Troubadour and Xanadu. I'm gonna put those in tomorrow night, but at least I have these 4 varieties that were a little bit earlier in today. So feel good about that. All finished up with planting sweet corn for today. Just putting some starter fertilizer in my planter tanks. And I just gravity feed it. That's why I have it up on that stack of pallets. So in about 5 or 10 minutes, these tanks will be full, ready for planting more sweet corn tomorrow night. So when I was first heading down the road to start planting corn, I had a car pass me and I had to get over. I should have stopped because I nicked this guy's mailbox. Just barely clipped it with the edge of my planter, probably by 1/2 inch, but it was enough to knock it loose. So I want to try to repair this guy's mailbox. I went and talked to him just a moment ago and told him what I was going to be doing, and because I didn't want to be working on his mailbox with mail in it without him knowing. So let's get this thing repaired. That thing's been in there a while. Oh boy, this one over here is rusted fast. But it came out. So far so good. This is one heavy duty mailbox. It's like armor. Wow. I think this thing weighs like 30 pounds. Whew. The only thing I wonder about now is that I put the mailbox back too far. Well, it's probably a good thing that it's back a few inches further than normal, so I don't hit it again next time. All right, let's see if this thing will pop right back on here. A snug fit, that's for sure. Come on, get on there. Wrapping this thing up and calling it a day. There we go, good as new. Good afternoon and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. I'm just getting everything watered before I head back out and finish up my final acre of sweet corn that I did not do yesterday. We've had lots of sun and wind, so I'm pretty confident the ground will be nice and dry. Now, when it is warm and breezy out like it is today, it makes these plants dry out really fast, so I have to really give them a good soaking. I slow down my speed of watering, and I will go over them at least twice, if not 3 times. in a tic-tac-toe pattern just to make sure nothing is missed. Because sometimes I come out here and I start seeing plants wilt. We don't ever want to see a wilting plant. A wilting plant is not a growing and flourishing plant. Whoa, these zucchini are getting huge. They are ready. So I'll probably put these outside tomorrow. Let the wind and the cooler night temperatures kind of beat them up just a little bit to start getting them hardened off. I don't want them to stretch any more than they are. They're already like 8 inches tall. And in a couple of days, they'll be another 4 inches taller than this. So we don't want that to happen, because then they're likely to break or bend over after transplanting. So we're gonna want to get them outside, let them get exposed to the wind and the nighttime temperatures, and that'll slow down their elongation, getting them out of this warm, sunny greenhouse, especially in the morning. When greenhouses get warmed up first thing in the morning, plants tend to elongate. So we don't want that. Everything is about the size that I want it to be. For the most part, you know, the winter squashes is still a little bit small. It needs another week. And cucumbers, they like to elongate quite a bit too. So we'll get the zucchini and cucumbers outside, put them on flatbed wagons, but everything else, they should be okay. I will just leave the sides rolled up so they get that nighttime temperature. So no more heat in the greenhouse. We want them to get down to about 50 degrees at night, and let all the natural breeze come through here all day and night to kind of harden them off and get them ready for their new outdoor home sometime next week, hopefully. Just about ready to wrap up sweet corn planting for this afternoon. Looks like it's going in decent. This was really muddy yesterday and it dried out a bunch overnight. So I'm glad I was able to put my corn here, because this little 3-acre corner already had my 28% nitrogen applied pre-plant when I killed the weeds. So I wanted to get corn in here sooner than later, instead of putting it into another field that doesn't have my nitrogen down yet. If you're wondering, on my starter fertilizer that I put in my tanks yesterday, the analysis is 8-24-4. I am putting my seed in at 1.5 inches depth, not using any insecticide. I did have to kill these weeds. There was a lot of grass and thistles out here. I'm not going to talk about weed control on my channel anymore. If you guys have questions about that, you can send me an email directly at jason@wishwellfarms.com. All right, I'm going to hop back on the tractor and get the rest of this corn in. I put in Troubadour over here, and Xanadu is going in now. Xanadu is kind of a replacement for Nirvana. They're very similar, but Xanadu seems to be more consistent with ear size. I've had a lot of trouble with Nirvana over the past few years. Any kind of environmental stress, like too much rain, not enough heat, a little bit of grass pressure, maybe that gets out of control. So, you know, anything, or you don't give it enough space if you plant it too close together, if you don't have your population set right. It's just very sensitive to any kind of stress. And when it's good, it's almost impossible to beat. But too often I get small ears, underdeveloped ears, and it's just not worth it anymore. So no Nirvana for me this year, but lots of Xanadu. All right, another sweet corn planting in the ground. Boy, we have been having fantastic weather. I wish it was going to continue, but they are calling for rain, a chance of rain, tomorrow, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I am so worried that the ground that is almost dry and ready to disc and lay plastic is gonna get rained on again. But it's only 35% chance tomorrow. So if it misses us tomorrow, I think I'm gonna try my hand disking it up That way, if it does rain on Tuesday and Wednesday, at least it's disked and ready to go. And as soon as it dries out, I'll be able to roll right in there with my plastic mulch layer and get that plastic down, shape those beds, along with putting drip tape down with it. So that is what is coming up next. And if it does rain and I can't get out there, at least the days are getting longer. And when the sun is out, it's more intense because it's more directly above us and it dries things out quickly. So it's only a matter of time before I'll be able to get out there and get completely caught up and get the transplanting. Guys, I want you to know how much I really appreciate all of you watching and commenting, liking the videos. The channel is really taking off again as we are approaching the heart of the vegetable growing season. I think we're going to hit 20,000 subscribers maybe next week. So I'm really excited about hitting that little milestone. If there is any kind of content that you guys are interested in seeing, let me know down in the comments because I want to keep it fresh and interesting for all you folks. I want you to keep on watching. I enjoy making the videos, but I want it to be enjoyable for you as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you all again real soon down on the farm.